All right, so Evan Gershkovich and Paul Whelan, as well as several other people in a multi-prisoner swap amongst multiple different countries, hit the news yesterday, so I had to cancel my appearance, and then they had to focus 100% on that. So I was glad that things played out the way that it played out, because then I was able to authentically get all of the information so that we can have a conversation this morning. Authentically get the information so we can have a conversation this morning. All right, without further ado, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. We're going to man this out. The first thing that I want to man out is what happened. You guys need to be informed so that I can then give you my opinion, and then we're going to go into Trump's reaction, we're going to go into CNN's reaction, and we're going to break this thing all the way down to the white meat.
Breaking news. Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich is back in the U.S. this morning after being held prisoner in Russia for more than a year.
Last night, President Biden and Vice President Harris welcomed Gershkovich and other freed Americans home. It follows the biggest prisoner swap between the U.S. and Russia since the fall of the Soviet Union. Christina Fan is live outside the Wall Street Journal headquarters in Midtown. Christina.
Well, Mary, as you just mentioned, this is the largest prisoner swap between the U.S. and Russia since the end of the Cold War, involving 24 prisoners and multiple countries. The Wall Street Journal reporter was sentenced to 18 years in prison following a trial that the U.S. government called a sham. This morning, he and other Americans are finally back home. Evan Gershkovich and two other freed Americans touched down in San Antonio this morning to be checked out at Brooke Army Medical Center after their release in a historic prisoner swap. Hours prior, the Wall Street Journal reporter, along with Marine veteran Paul Whelan and radio journalist Alsu Kermashiva, were welcomed home by President Biden and Vice President Harris in an emotional homecoming.
This is the newest flag that flies over the White House. There's only 3 flags that fly over the White House. This is one of them.
I want y'all to remember this before we even give credit to the administration, right? Because I didn't want to speak too soon, but I had a theory, and I think that I was absolutely right, and that's what I was talking about yesterday. Before we give credit to the administration, because some people is going to say, oh, look at the good job that they did. Look at the good job that they did. First, I want to get back to the core and help y'all remember exactly what happened last year when we got the person that has recently designated themselves as a new father, Brittany Griner. Let me give them a round of applause. I want to tell y'all that we got fleeced, absolutely fleeced in the original transaction, prisoner swap. Brittany Griner, a WNBA basketball player who has recently declared himself a new father for the Russian merchant of death. That was our identity politics, diversity, equity, and inclusion move, okay? So we had to do the identity politics, diversity, equity, and inclusion move before we got over into the real thick of things right before the election. Don't be bamboozled. Don't be fooled. Don't let them throw the wool over your eyes. I'm going to break this down all the way to the white meat. We got fleeced for the Lord of War, the Russian merchant of death, that they literally made a movie for, a gun runner who is just, God knows how many people have now died, as far as him now supplying arms all across the world. Who knows? Only God can be there for him now. Had him in the most secure facility in the United States of America, and we let him go for Brittany Griner. And she talk like this. So before we get to the thick of this, and I break down how we got fleeced in this deal, let me bring y'all up to the front of the congregation, and I'm going to let y'all see exactly what Evan talks about and how it is, and Paul. And I want to just give you the news of what happened, and then we're going to deep dive into it.
President Biden described the months-long negotiations as a feat of diplomacy involving 7 countries and 24 prisoners.
You see how they invited all of the media to take photos, all of that stuff. Hey, get everything in position. Make sure y'all get your cameras together.
Including 16 moving from Russia to the West and 8 prisoners held in the West being sent back to Russia. The entire deal hinged on the release of Vadim.
So we got 3. They got 8 back. All right.
Krasikov, a suspected Russian spy serving a life sentence in Germany for murder.
So they get a life sentenced Russian spy back who kept his mouth shut. He said no snitching. And Russia said, we want to keep this information secret. We got to get them back.
But the U.S. also released 3 Russians accused of fraud and cyber crimes.
Today.
So they get hackers. They get hackers. Don't worry about it. We're going to get into it in the next segment.
It's a powerful example of why it's vital to have friends in this world. Friends you can trust, work with, and depend upon.
In Gershkovich's hometown of Princeton, New Jersey, emotions ran high.
We never forgot you. We never gave up hope. From a personal level, I know how extraordinary you are as a person.
The veteran journalist graduated from Princeton High School, where he was a star soccer player. Last year, the team dedicated its season to him, hoping for his safe return.
We're thrilled for his parents. We saw the stress in their eyes, and we're thrilled for them.
And the Biden administration is facing some criticism this morning that the exchange could embolden Russian President Vladimir Putin to arrest more Americans.
And that's exactly what they did. And why wouldn't they? That's exactly what they did. So let me tell you how this played out, all right? And I said this, and I'm going to break down how this is supposed to benefit the Biden administration, Harris specifically, because she made sure she flew straight from the rally over to the plane landing so that she can get a photo op with the people that's coming home from America like she had anything to do with the negotiations. Let me tell you how this plays out, right? They get some of the worst people to do some of the worst crimes back. They get 8 back, we get 3. And what they did was they arrested a journalist, they arrested a Marine that went over there for a wedding, and then some other random woman, right? And which we do want them home. It's not like we want Americans to be abroad. We want them home. But all they did was, okay, hey, listen, you American, get them. We can get the Russian merchant to death because this is a WNBA player, and we know that they believe in the alphabet community and diversity, equity, and inclusion over in the United States of America. Got that one. Got the Russian Lord of War back. Oh, dog, don't give them Paul yet. Don't give them Evan yet. Who else can we get? They got them the same way that my man, what was the name of that movie where Kevin Costner was the general manager of a football team and he was getting fleeced at first and then he figured out how to get all of his stuff back? Kevin Costner was Vladimir Putin. Kevin Costner was back on his heels and then he was Vladimir Putin and he wound up fleecing the whole team. All right? Then it was like, well, what else can we get? We got some hackers over there. We got some Russian spies. What we got to give them back? Oh, we got somebody that came over here for a wedding. Who else do we got back? That's what Putin said. Who else do we have back? We got Evan. We got Paul. What do they do? Well, Paul, he's just a Wall Street journalist. I don't know if they're going to really want that. You know what? Let's wait until election season. We don't want Trump into the White House anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to leverage this because we know that Americans like photos. Draft Day. Shout out to Draft Day. We know Americans like photos, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and WNBA basketball players. Who's coming up? Caitlin Clark? We need Brittany Griner. We can get the Russian merchant of death back. Biden? completely out of his mind. He'll take anything. Who's running? Harris? She'll come for the photo op. We need our spies. Tell them to be quiet. We need our spies. We need our hackers. And we definitely need our gun runners because we have a whole war that we have to do, and we do not want Trump to get back in office. Let's have beer. You want the truth or you want me to give you the fluff? You want the truth or you want me to give you the fluff? Let's just go ahead. Let's get the rest of the news because they thought that we was just going to be finesse and they thought that this was going to be a victory and that I was going to be like, oh man, they just doing such a good job. They doing such a good job. Let's see what he had to say.
This is the newest flag that flies over the White House. There's only 3 flags that fly over the White House. This is one of them. Oh yeah, President Biden gave me his pin. from his. That's the American flag.
Yeah.
He wore it on his lapel. So we were chatting, and he took it off and gave it to me. So it's a keepsake.
Could you describe the moment of coming back?
Oh, it was nice. It was nice. You know, it didn't feel real until we were flying over England. I'm a British citizen, Irish citizen, Canadian, and American. So as we came over England and I looked down, you know, that's when it became real. We flew over Ireland, then Canada, and into America, and then I knew I was home. So getting off the plane, seeing the president, the vice president, that was nice. It was a good homecoming. So looking forward to seeing my family down here and just...
He said, hey, to see them down there, that was nice, but I'm looking to see my family. He didn't thank them. He did not, listen, I want y'all to look at this. He did not thank the president, and he did not thank the vice president.
Recuperating from 5 years, 7 months, and 5 days of just absolute nonsense by the Russian government.
What was it like to hug your sister?
Oh, it was very nice, yeah. I hadn't seen her in a couple years. So yeah, it's nice to reconnect with family like that. She's done a lot. You know, my brothers too, my parents. You know, sometimes some harsh words with the government, having to keep them accountable for taking care of us. But in the end, you know, here I am.
Some harsh words for the government in order to keep them accountable for taking care of us. Quoted. Some harsh words for the government in order to keep them accountable for taking care of us. End quote. That's what he said. Meanwhile, it was a photo op for the vice president because she definitely wanted to get her fake Joker smile up there. She wanted to get her teeth out. And so they wanted to make sure that they get the photo op and meet them at the tarmac. Meet them at the tarmac in order to get the photo op. All right? Let's see if we can get a little further in this thing. What a setup. What a setup. Back up. Back up. I'm gonna show y'all what a photo op is. Photo op right there. Photo op. Photo op. Cheese. Oh my God. I hate what the heck I see happening in these streets today.